If you need a light game for your low-end PC, you might be surprised at how good some of the best low-spec PC games are. While gaming laptops are more powerful than ever, not all of us have a laptop with a GTX 2080. Some of us prefer a lighter, smaller laptop for life on the go, and sometimes that means giving up on more demanding PC games. Our today's video is on the best low-spec games for your PC. Let's start our list with the most popularized game right now, Among Us. If you're ready for a bit of subterfuge with your friends, Among Us is one you can be sure you will be able to play almost regardless of the machine's age. It also has a cross-play between PCs and phones. That's what you can have at your fingertips while playing the game. Among Us is a format familiar to anyone who has played Werewolf or other similar board games. A group of vividly colored space engineers is stranded repairing a ship while trying to figure out which one of them is an imposter, attempting to assassinate the others. The fun lies in the way you and your friends can fool each other, more than the fancy lighting effects, making it easy to learn how to play on a low-spec machine. Old school RUNESCAPE. This device comes from the days when today's low-end PCs were just the rage. There's a reason why RUNESCAPE has been around for so long. This MMO comes from a time when online gaming didn't always lead you down with a well-worn road of quests and leveling possibilities. The old-school version of RUNESCAPE transports you back to the game's infancy. You might have a hard time getting started on this without the wiki at hand, but at least it won't test your PC. Untitled GOOSE game. The Untitled GOOSE game is quite short, as are the required system specs. If it somehow got dark on the internet in the weeks following GOOSE game's release, you may have missed a number of GOOSE memes it spawned in mainstream social media. The GOOSE game is an adorable stealth puzzle about being a creepy goose on the loose in a quaint British town. Luke Kemp, in his review of Untitled GOOSE game, wrote that he couldn't remember the last game that made him laugh so much and so often while playing it. Minecraft. One of the main questions asked online about laptops is, will Minecraft work? To which the answer for future reference is, yes, probably. Mojang's Infinite Block doesn't require specs when it comes to specs, and it's the perfect game to play on a laptop when you should be writing PC gamer features on low-spec games. While it's common to play on a tablet, phone, or console these days, if you opt to build with your PC, you'll get the most up-to-date upgrades and mod support. Slay the Spire, an instantly addictive card-fighting roguelike, taking the strategic fun of tech-building board games and combining it with the sensibility of games like The Binding of Isaac and Risk of Rain, where finding random relics can change your way to play. Or, if you get a lucky combination, it turns you into a killing card god. Like the best roguelikes and deck builders, Slay the Spire gives you that immense satisfaction when you find a ruining combo. Once the intimidating enemies fall in front of you like flies, you have fun seeing it over and over again, thanks to unlockables as more powerful cards for each type of deck and protagonists who play differently from each other. Magic: The Gathering Arena. Finally on our list, we have the digital adaptation that Magic deserves. The timeless trading card game has received a lot of pint-sized video games over the years and limped along with a bigger, more messy Magic: The Gathering Online. But this is finally the true Magic experience and still a lot of fun. And its recommended system specs come from 2011 hardware. Any modern laptop will handle it smoothly. According to a reviewer, it's a free and generous game. When you buy an extension pack with in-game cash or gold, you earn wild cards that can be exchanged for any card of equivalent rarity, replacing the typical dusting and crafting systems of other digital TCGs. It's much more generous than tabletop Magic. You'll still have to spend money on any perfect deck that you master the meta, or if you can't worry about daily quests for gold. However, if you've ever gotten yourself out of a financial bind by collecting Magic cards in a book full of plastic cases, here is a certain way to do so without blowing your budget. Darkest Dungeon. A bright and stressful strategic dungeon explorer who channels Lovecraft with brilliant storytelling and truly terrifying missions. As your group grapples with horror in the dark, stress builds up, and too much stress causes them to adopt new personality quirks that turn into even more stress and loss of sanity. This maintains a continual state of tension. What if your plague doctor is your group's most trusted member, but he insults his co-workers every few minutes, causing them to become more stressed? Permadeath is brutal in Darkest Dungeon, but you will find it hard to leave even when a whole group of heroes is wiped out. Emily is Away. The entire Emily is Away series seems to work on a 15-year-old machine, and it probably could. These spoof social network games are interactive stories about a group of high school students who are looking through all of their connections. Emily is away is made to look like AOL Instant Messenger, while the third is carried over to the Facebook era. There are all great stories that will take you back to the old days of the internet and have system requirements to meet. Sunless Skies. Like Sunless Seas before it, Sunless Skies is part roguelike adventure and part interactive fiction, but it's better than ever. It scored a 90 from its total reviews. Due to the brilliance of its disparate elements, they combine to produce thrilling stories, from the scratches you survive on the skin of your teeth to the moments when your arrogance gets you killed. And it also raises the stakes when you are hit directly by a huge hole in your helmet and some hideous monstrosity is turning for another attack. Regardless of the changes you make, the great variety of scenarios and possible outcomes means that you will discover something new in every race. West of Loathing. The funniest game of 2017 and possibly the funniest RPG we've ever played. This is a game where you explore for laughs rather than loot. They are in all corners of the world and also in the options menu, and it's a pleasure to discover them. West of Loathing is also a genuinely entertaining and inventive role-playing game, with classes like Beanslinger and Cowpuncher replacing the genre's usual suspects. It got reviews that included flushing the toilet to gain XP, searching for a needle in a haystack, or digging into a minecart for a piece of meat. The economy of West of Loathing is built on meat, and you can get a battle buff by cursing yourself in the mirror because you got upset. Most importantly, snooping around every corner of West of Loathing isn't just useful for enhancing your character's stats and refreshing your bottomless inventory with weapons, clothes, food, liquor, and hats. There are over 50. This is a fun game, and you'll want to get rid of any humor before you're done. Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden. This XCOM and Fallout title is based on the Mutant Year Zero board game. If you've played modern XCOM games, you'll be familiar with most of the elements of the game, although Mutant Year Zero gives you direct control of your team outside of combat and blends XCOM gameplay with some bright RPG components. The worst thing we can say about Mutant Year Zero is that you'll have to look up which keys correspond to which buttons. While the storyline and post-apocalyptic atmosphere are evocative of the best parts of Fallout, it still seems like a spiritual sequel. For want of a better term, Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden sounds like a AA game. Reasonably well-finished and solid aspirations. It won't allow you to confuse it with a 400-hour dungeon crawler. Disco Elysium. In Disco Elysium, you are playing a character of a detective suffering from alcohol and drug addiction amnesia who was hired to solve a murder mystery. This happens so frequently in games that you think there'd be some sort of agency in charge of ensuring that future investigators still remember their names. As you work to solve a murder, you'll also remember things about yourself and have access to a trait system with which to develop your character. There are 24 skills in the game, and each one has an effect on how the game evolves. Pick the wrong or correct ones, and you may end up arguing with yourself about the correct course of action. The game has also won the Game of the Year title in various publications and can run on 14-year-old hardware. Hope you enjoyed watching our video. Thanks for watching.